Why, hello there. This is Greg, the Masked Gamer, coming to you at the tail end of a very hot summer, which may just be the coolest summer of the rest of our lives, to do an event, to go attend the Midwinter Gala in the Arkham Horror card game. Dun dun dun. Yes, we give you a break from our regularly scheduled fun times of Cthulhu Death May Die with the much higher cognitive load of Arkham Horror the card game. For those of you who are new to my channel, this is a place for COVID cautious folks to talk about board games, but anyone is welcome here as long as you do not minimize, harass, or exhibit denialism towards those of us that are still trying to keep ourselves healthy. With that said, I am here by myself today, so I can remove my mask. However, my meal prep plan is also very late today, so odds are that is going to arrive during this, and we are going to have some dogs barking, and it's going to be a whole hot big mess. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about Arkham Horror the card game before we dive in, shall we? Arkham Horror the card game is one of my 10 favorite games to play solo, although I do prefer playing this game with a group. And I do have an Arkham Horror group that are playing things 3 players, but I don't know when or if we will get to do the one-shots, like the standalone side scenarios. And this is a standalone side scenario that just came out, and so I thought I would take 2 of my investigators who I have not played yet, who supposedly are very hard to play, and use them to just completely lose the scenario. So today we are taking with us on our journey the butler, Carson Sinclair, whose special ability is to give someone else at his location an extra action, and Charlie Kane, the politician, who's going to have a whole lot of allies. Now, I also happen to draw in Charlie's first hand his random weakness of the tower, which is going to make this adventure even harder for us. So, with all of that said, we are going to read the introduction story time, and then we're going to see how this works, because I know nothing about what's about to happen. The Midwinter Gala. It was the Yuletide that men called Christmas, though they know in their hearts it is older than Bethlehem and Babylon, older than Memphis and mankind. It was the Yuletide, and I had come at last to the ancient sea town, where my people had dwelt and kept festival in the elder time when festival was forbidden, where also they had commanded their sons to keep festival once every century, that the memory of primal secrets might not be forgotten. H.P. Lovecraft, the world's biggest racist, from his story, The Festival. Introduction. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about H.P. Lovecraft. So, H.P. Lovecraft, racist, terrible, terrible, terrible human being. What is great about what Fantasy Flight Games has done with their Arkham Horror game line is, and you don't see it in this one because I'm bringing these 2 old white dudes, but they've done a really good job of incorporating BIPOC and non-gender conforming characters into their own Arkham Horror universe, so that H.P. Lovecraft is rolling around in his grave as he should. Okay, just wanted to get that. Intro. A light snow falls as you step out of your taxi in front of the cracked and weathered facade of the old Kingsport Manor. Several other guests, some of the finest movers and shakers from Arkham to New York. Oh, I should change my video. We'll do this. From Arkham to New York, flitter past you to present their invitations to the doorman. As you follow them in, you catch a scent of cedar and sweet florals with an undercurrent of something rank. The Lantern Club is thrilled to have you, a grinning, sharp-eyed attendant says as they hand you the same bone-white mask worn throughout the soiree. Oh my gosh, it's like we're going to sleep no more. Okay. Feeling out of place, you don your mask and follow an elderly flapper into a drawing room with a crackling fire. The room would be warm and inviting if not for an uncanny strangeness in the dreamlike paintings and ghastly sculptures. Looking at them makes your head swim. Please, please, if you'll indulge me, a stentorian voice bellows from the adjoining room. You follow the voice back to the lavish foyer. At the top of the stairs, a stately gentleman with a finely trimmed beard and alabaster mask raises his champagne glass. I am Declan Pierce, nomarch of the Lantern Club. Follow me, please. I don't know what half of these words mean. The guests follow him through a wide set of double doors into the ballroom, in the center of which is a gleaming gem displayed behind a thick pane of glass. The socialites gather around, marveling at the swirling iridescent colors that move like clouds within the hard-cut angles of the jewel. My honored guests, this is the Jewel of Sarnath, Declan Pierce says triumphantly. A stone unlike any other, rumored to have been cut in an ancient city on distant shores. Legends claim it can grant the bearer's wishes. Scattered laughter follows Pierce's remark, and the chairman himself suppresses a chuckle. Well, yes, I know. Of course, the real purpose of this evening is you. We invited only the best, the most supreme of New England's social strata to appeal to your sense of charity. The most distinguished or generous among you may be permitted to hold the jewel by evening's end. And who knows, perhaps dreams are real and the Jewel of Sarnath can grant wishes. But until then, enjoy our little party. After another wave of friendly laughter, Pierce claps his hands, and a dozen attendants bearing mouth-watering appetizers descend upon the room. Where is my meal prep? Your eyes scan the ballroom, hoping for some sign of the contact who led you here. A chill runs down your spine as you lock eyes with a tall, masked figure standing at the back of the crowd. He slowly cocks his head just a little too far to the right. You wonder if he is smiling behind his bone-white mask. After what feels like ages, the man breaks eye contact with you to continue scanning the room. Suppressing a shiver, you search the gaggle of guests. Your gala invitation arrived in an unmarked parcel, along with a note promising generous compensation for your assistance in procuring the Jewel of Sarnath. At long last, you find your mysterious contact. Our mysterious contact happens to be, dun dun dun, Caldwell Phillips, who is enthralled by legends. I picked that beforehand, so I can set up. He's an astute professorial type who strokes his goatee as he studies a painting. You recognize him as Caldwell Phillips, the dean of Miskatonic University. He is our contact, and so there's some stuff we will not be reading. You approach Dean Phillips and introduce yourself. The painting he was examining is eerily lifelike, depicting a humanoid creature covered in fur, with multiple arms, each with a clawed talon. Quite imaginative, these Lantern Club folks, he laughs. I see you've received my missive. Thank you for coming. I must admit the university is more than a little curious to study this ancient gem. The jewel was rumored to have been housed in a Tibetan monastery until it vanished in the 12th century. I simply couldn't pass up the opportunity, he exclaims. Of course, if there were some way to examine the jewel more thoroughly, and we're going to skip to setup on page 11. So we've gathered all the cards from this set. We have put the lobby and the lantern root chamber into play, and 3 round floor chambers at random. We start play in the lobby over here. Let me switch the screen. Because we've chosen Miskatonic as our guest, we put that leader card. Yes. This side face up under the control of any investigator. We've chosen Charlie. We put that faction's remaining 3 guests in those 3 rooms. We remove its rival card from the play. We have randomly selected the... Where did I put him? We've randomly selected the Survivor Locals of Kingsport as our rival faction. So we have their story card leader and their rival card set aside. And then we shuffled the remaining guests into here, and we randomly dealt 1 to each location. It just so happened to be 1 from each of the other factions that was not the rival or us. I did that randomly, I swear. The bloodless man is exhausted in the lantern chamber with the pale lantern attached to him. We've set a bunch of cards out of play, shuffled the cards, and now we are ready to begin. Let's see what happens. So just for my edification, because I don't know what I'm doing, that's funny, because the rulebook for this only gave me ways to build the Chaos Bag for Standard, not for Easy, and I built it for Standard, and I usually play this game on Easy, because we know I suck at games. Alright, but anyway, on Easy or Standard, a skull is -X, where X is the current agenda number, currently 1. Cultist is -X, where X is the number of guest assets at your location. There's currently 1 because he's attached to us. The tablet is -2. It would be -4 if we're at a location marked as private. And the elder thing is -3. If you fail, or if the bloodless man is at your location, you will take 1 horror. Agenda 1A. Let's show you the cute little picture. Masked revelers. Promising to be a night of intrigue and wonder, the gala is expected to be filled with secrets and whispers that are as much a part of the entertainment as the drinks and music. Oh my god, it is Sleep No More. Each Lantern Club enemy cannot be dealt damage. Doom cannot be removed from the agenda by any card effects. When a single-sided guest asset would leave play, it instead becomes spellbound, flipping it face down, losing control of it, and healing all damage and horror from it. That only has a threshold of 4. Act 1, meet and greet. You notice the jewel is no longer in the ballroom. Maybe a guest saw someone move it. Guest assets do not take up ally slots. As an action, you can choose a guest asset and a skill icon on it at your location and parlay. Test that skill. If you succeed, take control of that asset. As an action, if you control a guest asset, you can give it to another investigator at your location. Objective. If each undefeated investigator controls a guest and the current agenda is 2A or 3A, then they may spend 6 clues as a group to advance. That's a lot of words. So, Charlie and Carson are starting in the lobby. The front door of the mansion leads to a room filled with art, attendees, and a beautiful chandelier. Grab yourself a drink. It could be a long night. This location is going to have 2 clues on it. It's a shroud of 2. The winter chill lingers in your bones. Something feels wrong. If the current agenda is 2A or 3A, you can spend 2 resources. Someone is fashionably late. You can reveal the top card of the guest deck and put it into play at this location once per round. We're going to take a look at some of these other locations we have before we start. The Lantern Chamber. It is private, and as an additional cost to enter it, you must take 1 horror. You feel an icy chill when you put your hand on the knob to the Silent Sanctum. The Bloodless Man, who is currently exhausted, has aloof and patrol, who he will move to the nearest location with a guest. When he is defeated, he has 6 health. When he is defeated, instead we will flip him over, exhaust him, and heal all but 6 damage from him. When the investigation phase ends, if he is ready, he will deal 1 harm to each investigator and guest at his location. If the Pale Lantern is attached to this enemy, each guest at that location also becomes spellbound. The Pale Lantern, as an action, if the Bloodless Man has 1 or more damage on him or is in a victory display, you can test Strength or Agility versus 3, and if you succeed, take control of the Pale Lantern and flip it over. Any investigator at this location may trigger this ability. So we're going to have to go into the house so that he doesn't follow us, because patrol means that he is going to move and chase us down. All of the guest rooms the stately halls are filled with the sound of music and laughter. We're not going to talk about the individual guests in them until we get to them, but we do know that we have to ensure that we move on this turn to get away, so that we don't lose Caldwell Phillips to being spellbound. So, we're going to start with Carson Sinclair. Carson Sinclair has 3 actions. One of them is to give a friend an action. Carson Sinclair's first action is going to be to gain a resource, giving him a total of 6. Boom. His next action is going to be to play Ever Vigilant, which lets him play up to 3 assets from his hand, reducing the resource cost of each by 1. He has 6 resources, and we're going to play both a Beat Cop and a Runic Axe for 3 each. So he's got a Beat Cop. I don't know why he brought a cop with him to a party. I don't know why the butler got invited to the party, but this is what is happening. He's then going to use his extra special action to choose another investigator in his location who can take an action as if it was their turn. And Charlie Kane is going to do a. Maybe I'll leave that stuff there. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and leave that stuff there. And Charlie Kane is going to use his action to spend 4 resources to play the tower, so he can now commit skill cards to his tests. And it is now in his play area. For Carson's final action, Carson is going to. It's going to want to move to a room that has some fists at it. So we're going to go ahead and go to this first room over here, which is the bar room. Bar room has 4 clues in it. You can, as a fast action, spend a resource, which I don't have right now, to buy a drink. You can heal 1 damage or 1 horror from an investigator or guest at this location. Over here, we have our 2 story assets. We have Raymond Loggins, who has head and has willpower and knowledge. Raymond will have 4 truths. When you draw a non-weakness treachery, you can spend a truth to cancel that revelation effect and discard it and take a horror. And then we have Lucas Tetlow, who is, after the last clue is discovered at your location, you can exhaust him, search the top 9 cards of your deck for an item and draw it. If it's a relic, also gain 2 resources. If it's a tome, you must play it. If it's a tool, you can discover a clue at an adjacent location. So yeah, that one seems pretty cool. But that was Carson's fourth, because he used his free action to let Charlie play that card, action. He is now ready to do some tests at that location. Now we're going to move on to Caldwell Phillips's turn. I'm not going to flip. Well, yeah, I did flip it upside down. Caldwell Phillips, Charlie Kane. Charlie Kane has one clue left, 1 resource left rather. He's going to use his first action to go join our friend Carson over here at the bar room. And we would like to. How do I do this parlay thing again? I can test the skill versus 3. So if I succeed at a willpower 3 test, I can claim Lucas. At a knowledge 3 test, I can claim Lucas Tetlow. Now I have 3 additional ally slots. What else do I want to do? I want to play this. That was 1 action. I have 2 more actions. I'm going to do this a little differently. I'm going to get a resource and then spend 2 resources to play an art student. After the art student enters play, you can discover 1 clue at your location. After you discover 1 or more clues at your location, exhaust Carson Phillips to draw that number of cards. That was my 3rd action. So I now have a few allies in play. Yeah, we're gonna run out of room here real quick, just like Marvel Champions. But anywho, that was the end of the investigator phase. We move on to the enemy phase. The bloodless man is exhausted, so doesn't move. So I could have looked for some clues there, and I wasn't paying attention as usual. Because why would I pay attention to what I'm doing? I don't know. And then we are going to move to the upkeep phase where the bloodless man stands up. Our investigator's ready. Each of our investigators gets a resource. Each of our investigators draws a card. And you don't even get to see what these cards are because they're all off camera, but that is fine. It'll be our little secret. It'll be like you're playing a 3rd player. That is not me. Then we go to the Mythos phase where we place 1 doom on the agenda, and then terrible things start to happen to us, beginning with our lead investigator, who is actually Charlie. So, starting with Charlie, we're going to get some evil cards. First, Entrap. Revelation. Test dexterity versus 3. If you fail and the bloodless man is at your location, a guest becomes bloodbound. If the bloodless man is in another location, he will ready and move until he reaches your location and engage you. And if he is not in play, it would gain surge. So we need to pass this dexterity test. We need to pass it badly. Okay. So our base dexterity is 1, and we're going against 3. We're going to go ahead and have Carson play leadership to give me 2 more. So that brings me up to a 3 dexterity. We are going to exhaust Caldwell to give me 5 dexterity. So now that's 5 versus 3, which is still, it's still actually a lot riskier than I want to be playing on standard, and I really don't want this to happen. So we're just going to go ahead and discard the stray cat and calling in favors, which I'm sure I will regret, in order to bring us up to 7 versus 3, because I know there's not a -4 in here, and I know what happens to me. So we are going to pull from the bag a 0. I didn't have to do any of that, but I passed. Okay, now we're going to draw a bad card for Carson. Carson has found a secret door attached to the location with the most investigators and without a secret door. Investigators cannot leave this location. You would have to test willpower 3 or knowledge 3 to find the way out and discard the secret doors. So we are now trapped here, and that is fantastic. Okie dokie. Well then, moving right along, let's go on to our turn. We are going to start with Charlie Kane this time. Charlie Kane is going to use, by exhausting art students, a knowledge of 3 to try to get Lucas Tetlow to our cause. Carson is going to contribute 2 more resources, 2 more perception to that, giving us a perception of 5 versus 3. And now's when I'm going to draw the thing that I fail. But we'll see. If that happens, we're really screwed. But that's what's going to happen. Oh no! It's -3. So I failed the test and I take a horror. So I have burnt all of those cards and I have taken a horror. Everything I have is very exhausted. The odds of me succeeding in any test now are negative. So I'm going to go ahead and with my second 2 actions, my first action will be to get a resource. My second action will be to play a lucky cigarette case, which will allow me to draw cards if I succeed at tests by 2 or more. In order to do that, I have to succeed at a test, period. Okay. So we have 3 fisticuffs, which is not really enough to get anything done. So we're going to go ahead and draw a card. We're going to use our second action to draw a card. Amazing. We are going to use we're going to use an action to give Charlie Kane an additional action, and Charlie Kane is going to go ahead and get a resource. No, that doesn't make sense. Charlie Kane has a skill of 1. Yep, he's going to get a resource. Nope, he's going to draw a card. And then, oh, that's good. And then Carson's going to get a resource. So all that we've succeeded in doing so far at the Midwinter Gala is standing around with our thumbs up our bums. Yay! The bloodless man is going to move towards the nearest location with a guest. And so we're going to start losing our guest characters already, pretty much. There's not going to be any real way around that I can foresee. Okay. We're going to ready our people. We're going to get resources for both of them. Boom, boom. We're going to draw a card for both of them. Boom, boom. We're going to move to the Mythos phase, and we're going to see what happens to Charlie. Charlie has encountered a Lantern Club member. I hear No More Pierce has quite the evening in store. As an action, you can spend 1 resource to parlay and automatically evade this enemy. You may spend 2 additional resources to discard it instead. since I can't actually do any damage to it, that's going to be what I'm going to have to do. Lovely. Then we have for Carson. Carson is now entrapped, and this one I don't see any way to succeed because I don't have any dexterity to commit from anywhere. So it's going to be a 2 versus 3 dexterity test. I got my Elder Thing symbol. It gives me +0, but I can draw a card. I also could do that anytime anybody else draws a card. Problem is it's a +0, so I still failed. So the Bloodless Man is going to move to my location and engage me. Okay. Let's see. That's when the investigation phase ends. That's when a single-sided guest would leave play. Okay, well, he's engaged with me. That's that, and now it's our turn. Now I do have an axe, so I could try to do an attack. And I think that might be wise. We'll see. Let's see. I have a currently. I have 1, 2. Oh, I have 4 charges on this axe. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and attack. Nope, I can't attack the Bloodless Man. I cannot do it. It cannot be attacked yet. That's if the Bloodless Man has damage on him. So what do? I guess I have to evade him, but I don't have any way to evade. That's fun. I don't know what to. I can see why nobody plays these characters. Okay. Well, his evasion's only 2, and I have a base of 2. It's never going to happen. But you know who could evade is Charlie Kane. So Charlie Kane's going to go first, and Charlie Kane is going to engage the Bloodless Man. Charlie Kane is going to evade the Bloodless Man with a base skill of 3, with 4 from opportunity, with 7 from as you wish. So 7 versus 2, and we have a skull, which is -1, so we succeeded. So the performing investigator gets to draw 1 for this, gets to get opportunity back in his hand because he succeeded by 3 or more, gets to evade the Bloodless Man, now has 2 more actions to deal with the Lantern Club member. We're going to go ahead and spend 1 resource to automatically evade the Lantern Club member. We have 1 more action that we can do here, which we will use in a desperate bid to convince Lucas to come with us still, with a base of 3. This is going to be 5 because Carson's going to commit that. Okay. So 5 versus 3, and we got -1. So yay! We have recruited Lucas Tetlow to our cause, and that was the end of Charlie's turn. Oh no, Charlie! But that means that you're gonna get the thing from the thing with the thing, doesn't it? No, Charlie, it sure doesn't, because Carson is going to use his free action to tell Charlie that he can move. Thanks, Carson. No problem. Okay. Now. Oh, that is false. Investigators cannot leave this location because I have the secret door. Secret door, secret door, secret door. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I need to do willpower or knowledge. Let's see. We'll do willpower I'll commit my hunter's armor, and Charlie will commit his cigarette case to bring my willpower up to 4 to try to find the secret passage with my first action. Yeah, right. -1! Yes! Goodbye, secret passage. Yes, now I use my second action to let Charlie move to the lobby. Carson, instead of moving to the lobby, is going to come to this room all the way on the right here to explore a little more with his second actual action to find the art gallery. There's nothing quite like the pieces on display here. There's 2 clues here. If there's more, as an action, there's more to be discovered in this room full of strange works of art. You can place up to 2 clues from the token pool to this location and gain 2 resources once per round. That's fun. I have one more action with Carson. Carson has a fisticuff of 3. We're going to go ahead and just see if we can pull out one of those 2 zeros to get Miranda Keeper to join us. -1. Nope. Wait, did I need to get a 3? Oh, I need to get a 3 and my base was... Oh, my base was 3 because of the beat cop. Well, we still failed. All right, well, time waits for no one. On the enemy phase, these 2 enemies ready. Where did he go? Where did they go? We must find them. Yes, yes, we must. Okay, great. We're going to ready our people. We're going to get a resource for Charlie. We're going to get a resource for Carson. We're going to give Carson a card. We're going to go Charlie card. Charlie actually turned out to be a really good investigator for this scenario because he can use all of these other like characters to fuel his special abilities. So like I feel like I'd be doing a better job solo with him than 2-handed with Carson. But anywho, all right. Mythos phase, we added Doom to the agenda, getting there, and then Charlie gets a Terror Gate. Revelation, test willpower versus 2. This gets +2 if a rival's in play. There's no rival in play. I'll have to discard 2 cards in my hand if I fail this test. It's a willpower versus 2. I'm not gonna, I would have to discard cards to pass it, so we're just gonna see what happens. We get a skull, which is -1, so my skill is 0 versus 2. I must discard 2 cards from my hand. Oh, I don't want to discard these. I need these. I need all of these. We'll discard 1 opportunist and... No, we'll discard both opportunists from my hand. How sad. Okay, and then we have, for Carson, Bleeding Walls. Test willpower versus X, where X is the shroud value of your location. If you fail, lose 1 action and take 1 horror. I will obviously fail that test. Did I take a horror before for some reason? I don't remember, but I failed the test, so I definitely take a horror now. That's a 3 horror. All the tokens on top are 3s. Okay, so I take a horror and I lose an action. So I only get 2 actions this next turn. Not that it matters because there's really not much I can do anyway. Ba-dum-bum-chum. This will go to the nearest location with the guest. So technically, I can choose to not move the Bloodless Man to Charlie because there's guests at all of these locations as far as I can tell. When the investigation phase ends, if it's ready, deal 1 horror to each investigator and guest at this location. Oh, so he's gonna make us lose access to those guests. That's okay. Charlie's gonna go ahead and pay 1 resource to take out an old key ring, and then he's going to use the old key ring to make the shroud of his location 0. Instead of 2. So he now has a 1 versus 0, and he now has a 3 versus 0. He now has a 5 versus 0. No, I think, yeah, no. Scoring a skill test exhausted. I think I can only do it for 1, so it's a 5 versus 0. Can Charlie exhaust 2 allies is a question I have for the universe. What did I say I had? 3 versus 0. Okay, so that's a pass. That's a pass right there. So we get a clue, and I have to remove a key from old keyring. We're going to do the same thing again, except this time we're going to exhaust Lucas, which is going to give us 3 more. So we're now 4 versus 0, -1. So we get that clue. So we now have 3 of the clues we need. It took Charlie's whole turn. It's fine. All right. Now we have Carson. Carson only gets 2 actions. Which is, oh, I discovered more clues in my location, so I can exhaust him and draw a card. Forgot about that. After the last clue is discovered for your location, exhaust. Oh, he was already exhausted. Never mind. Okay. Oh my god, this is wild. Okay. Carson. I could try to do a 4 versus 3 test. You know, I'm not worried about giving Charlie that extra action, so we're going to go ahead and draw a card. Yes. Now we are going to do a perception test. I have to see which of these I want more. This one was said take me. This made sense. You. Yes, we're going to want to recruit Dr. Maya Baldry. We're going to commit 4 perception to this, giving us a 6 versus 3. That should be good. It'll still fail. We're giving ourselves a 6 versus 3. -2! Yay! Dr. Maya has... No, wait. Oh, she doesn't count as an ally. She doesn't take up an ally slot. My maximum hand size increased by 2. I can exhaust her and make my investigation score be equal to the number of cards in my hand. And I get to draw another card because I succeeded at perception. Amazing. Excellent. So now I can maybe do something with Carson. But that was the end of my turn. So, enemy phase. The investigation phase ended. This enemy is ready. He's going to deal 1 horror to each victim and guest his location. Because the pale lantern is attached to him, the guest becomes spellbound. So we're going to flip Raymond... Oh, wait. Spellbound. Flip it face down. Lose control of it. Lose all damage. Okay, well, I guess I just flip it face down and there's nothing on the other side of it. It's just spellbound. Okay. So we're going to need 1 more clue to advance the act, which I think Carson will actually be able to get on the next turn. So hopefully things will go well there. But we're now in the enemy phase, and he's going to move to the nearest location with a guest. So he's going to come over here. We're just going to keep him away from us, which might be unwise, but I don't care. Okay. Then we both ready. All of Charlie's allies ready. We each get a resource. Oops. We each get a resource. We each draw a card. Okay. Ooh. Oh, I succeeded at that test too, so I lost that at the hearing. We're going to place a doom on the agenda, which advances the agenda. Dun dun dun. 2. Who let the gugs out? Who let the gugs out? A crash resounds from somewhere deeper in the manor, followed by a scream. Declan Pierce emerges to calm the crowd in the ballroom, but you can't help but notice the masked attendants have positioned themselves in front of each of the manor's many exits. We are now going to shuffle each. We're going to shuffle each set aside. Where did I set them aside? We're going to shuffle each set aside monster encounter and the 2 vicious ambush cards and the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. So now the monsters are going to come get us. Unexpected guests. Common stirs deeper within the manor. Oh, sorry, common. Commotion stirs deeper within the manor as various guests ask the attendants to be let out. Other guests shuffle through the manor with dead eyes and blank stares. Parlay abilities on lantern card enemies cannot be triggered. Doom cannot be removed from this agenda, and whenever a single-sided guest would leave play, it becomes spellbound instead. But I am now able to at least uh, 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 advance the act deck if I get one more clue. But I'm sure we will get attacked by some horrible, terrible monsters as we reveal these cards from the Mythos deck, because that's what happens. I just realized, like, how much of Charlie's build is like off camera here. He's got a bunch of cards here. He's got an ally here and an ally here and a thingy here, and I don't know how people do filming for this game, but yeah, okay, great. What a mess, what a mess. What a mighty, mighty good mess. What a mess, what a mess. What a... Because my meal prep has just arrived. And as it is 106 degrees outside, yes, 106 degrees, I am going to step off camera for just a clock tick to bring that inside. So just, and maybe I'll edit that out, but I probably won't. Hey, we have put the box with shrimp in it next to the air conditioner, and I'll put it away later. Welcome to my life. So, with that, let's see what Charlie gets. Charlie gets a Terror Gate. Oh no, this is the one that would make him discard 2 cards from his hand, which we really do not want to do this time. I forgot to exhaust Lucky Cigarette Case on that last turn to draw a card, so I should have been able to do that. But I'm just going to do it now. Okay, so let's see. This is versus Willpower. I'm going to exhaust Caldwell. That brings my willpower to 3. Oh, man. Oh, man. I'm bringing my willpower to 4. I'm going to have to do this. I'm bringing my willpower to 5. There's just a card in my hand I can't risk losing. But I'll probably lose anyway. -3. Whew! Just barely squeaked through that. All right, and then Carson has gotten accosted by another Lantern Club party member, thus ruining our plans. The good news is that I can now kill things. I don't know if that was supposed to be the way it was or not. I'm going to have Carson go first for reasons. So, let's see here. I have a base attack of 3. It has an attack of 3. I'm going to use 2 charges on my Runic Axe to give me a 6 attack that will do +1 damage. Yay! I passed. So the Lantern Club member is dead. And I have 2 more actions. Oh, I need 1 clue. I need 1 clue. I forgot I needed a clue. I'm going to exhaust Maya to investigate. So my investigate skill is 4. I am going to spend 1 on Practice Makes Perfect. I can search the top 9 cards of my deck for a practice skill and commit it to this test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Practiced. 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 Yeah, it's obviously going to be deduction. So that gives me 4 plus 1 is 5. Yeah. I'm going to read Maya's card to read that it happens before I started playing cards. So I have 5 deduction, 5 versus 3, 6 versus 3, and we got -3. Yes, so I barely succeeded. It was smart to play that last card, and I get an additional clue at my location because of deduction. Ooh, all right. So each undefeated investigator controls a guess. The current agenda is 2A or 2B. We are going to spend 4 clues as a group. No. I don't know where I came up with the number 4. I need 6. I need one more. I need one more clue. Oh no. I bet you there's something in that lantern chamber. I'm going to use my second action to move over to the lobby. I'm going to use my third action to allow Charlie to move into the lantern chamber. Lantern chamber has 4 clues on it. It's a shroud of 5, however. But during your turn, you can name a card. Draw the top card of the encounter deck. If it's the named card, cancel its effects and discard it and discover 1 clue at this location. If the location has no clues, you can test willpower versus 4, and if you succeed, flip over any spellbound card. Okay, well that might turn out to be useful. I have one more action for Carson. Right? Yeah. Which I'm just going to draw a card. I should have done that first. For a variety of reasons. Oh well. Okay, then we have Charlie's turn. Okay, so this has a shroud of 5. I think the more important thing to do right now is to get 2 resources and play Bonnie Walsh. And be ready for some other stuff. So that's what I did. Okay, so that is the end of the investigator phase. During the enemy phase, the investigator phase ended, so these are both spellbound, and he's going to move over to this last location to spellblind that one, because we're going to just keep him away from me for now. And then we get to ready. We each get a resource. We each draw a card. And dun dun dun, Carson is selfless to a fault. At the end of your turn, if you did not commit at least 1 card to a skill test performed by another investigator this turn, take 1 horror and shuffle this into your deck. Well, that's terrible. At the end of your turn, if you do not commit at least 1 card to a skill test performed by another investigator at the end of your turn, if you did not commit 1 card to a skill test performed by another investigator this turn. So I have to trigger the other character to use their test while doing the thing. Okay, yeah, sure, fine. We're going to put 2 on the agenda. Charlie is attacked by a savage shantank. It's a hunter. It's got 1 fight, 4 health, 1 evade. Gets +1 fight and +1 evade for each guest at its location, so it's going to get +2 to each of those. That's horrible. And then Carson gets a vicious ambush. If there's no monster enemies in play, it gains surge. Otherwise, the nearest monster readies, moves to your location. That's actually good. Engages you and makes an immediate attack. That's actually fine for a variety of reasons. But we take 2 damage and 1 horror. We're going to put 1 damage on the beat cop, 1 horror on the beat cop, and 1 damage on Carson. That was actually good for what's going on in our lives, for the record. The challenge here is I need to get to Charlie. And I am unclear how that is going to happen. I could do, there's 1 guest in my location, so it has a fight of 2. I can do 3 damage with this first attack. Yeah, okay. We're going to use this. We're going to use two resources on the Hunter's Axe again. And that's going to give us a total of 3 plus 3 is 6 attack. And we're going to put Vicious Blow on that, which gives us 7 attack and 1 extra damage if we succeed, and it's versus 2. And I succeeded. So that did 3 damage to that monster. And then I'm going to discard the Beat Cop to deal 1 damage to it and kill it, which does not take an action. And I have 2 actions remaining. So for my first action, I'm going to move to the... Oh, I don't have to take horror to go in there anymore. So I'm going to take 1 action to move there with Charlie. This is not exhausted. There should be 5 clues on here. I don't know why I only put 4 on there. I'm gonna put the 5th one on there. And now that was my second action. For my third action, I'm going to draw a card, and there's a reason for that. Excellent. Okay. For my fourth, I'm going to give Charlie an investigate action. So Charlie is going to investigate versus Shroud of 5. We're going to exhaust Lucas, which is going to give us 3 more knowledge, bringing us up to, well, actually, we're going to use Rise to the Occasion, which gives me +3, bringing me up to 4 versus 5. We're going to exhaust this, which gives me another 3, which brings me up to 7 versus 5. We are going to discard this, which gives me 8 versus 5 and fulfills the requirement of Selfless to a Fault. So we're currently at 8 versus 5, and we're going to stick with that. I don't think we can do much. Oh, 9 versus 5 because I get +1 for call. -2. So we get 1 clue. And this was fine. Oh, I'm going to have to do that every single turn. I mean, I might as well just like let it go and take the horror and shuffle it in anyway. Okay, that was the end of Carson's turn, and we now have 6. Now we have 6 clues. So we're going to spend 6 clues as a group to reveal the next part of the game, which is contacts acquired. You and your contact meet with several guests who each confirm that the jewel was taken by Declan Pierce from the display case in the ballroom. Furthermore, strange sounds have begun to emanate from the 2nd floor of the manor. We are going to choose one of the 2nd floor locations at random and put it into play above the lobby. For the rest of the game, this location is connected to the lobby, and then these are going to now be on the 2nd floor, next to the lobby. We are going to put the set-aside rival story card into play next to the agenda, rival side up. Is that supposed to? I don't know. Rival side up and follow its setup text. Locals of Kingsport. The locals don't seem to have taken kindly to your involvement. Perhaps you can show them you don't mean any harm. Shuffle the set-aside unlucky treachery into the encounter deck. Put the set-aside William Barn into play at the leader's at the lead investigator's location, enemy side up. He's aloof. We can, when he's at our location, we can test any skill versus 4, and if we succeed, place 1 clue on this story card. When there are 3 clues on the story card, we can add it and William Bain to the victory display. Search and then we can remove unlucky from the game and shuffle the counter deck. Now he's an aloof hunter who cannot be damaged. Each investigator at his location cannot commit skill cards to test. Bonus Bolonus, I know you're with them, he says, and he will do 1 willpower damage to us. So that's pretty gosh darn awful, isn't it? But we get to read an interlude now too. We get to read the interlude, The Fabled Jewel, on page 13 of the little mini guide. Let's see what happens. We're going to put the set-aside story card that you allied with into play next to the act deck. Allied side up. We allied with Miskatonic University, so we are going to put Declan Pierce into play at the rightmost 2nd floor location. This will be the leftmost in our case because of how I had to set the board up. And attach the set-aside Jewel of Sarnath to him, ignoring its text. He's a hunter with 6 health. While he's engaged with you, you get 1 fewer actions during your turn. At the end of the enemy phase, if he's ready, heal 1 from each enemy in play. He's kind of hot. I kind of think. Okay. Anyway, I'm just desperate. Who am I kidding? Oh, so that would be different depending on which people we were allied with. The Miskatonic University allied card says you are assisting Dean Caldwell with acquiring the jewel, but first you will have to persuade Declan Pierce to give it up. Declan Pierce cannot be damaged or leave play while the jewel is attached to him. As an action, if he's at your location, you can place 2 of your clues on him, and if he has 6 clues on him, take control of the jewel and add Declan to the victory display. At the end of the round, if the investigators control the jewel, they may advance the act. End of game scoring. We get 1 point per 4 cards in hand among all investigators. I just care about surviving. Act 2A, finding the jewel. You must help your contact and their associates no matter what. You can still parlay with more guests. If we complete the objective on our faction story card, and then we also want to accomplish as many tasks as we can for a bigger point, which we're not going to do. We would get 1 point for each revealed location with no clues, 1 point for each guest controlled by us, 4 points if there's no spellbound cards in play, 5 points if it's still Agenda 1 or 2, 4 points if the Bloodless Man is defeated, 3 if the Pale Lantern is defeated, 3 if Declan is defeated, 4 if a rival is defeated, 3 if no investigator has been defeated and there is 4 or less damage on the investigator as a group, 3 if none has been defeated and there's 4 or less horror on us as a group, 3 more if we're playing on hard, 6 more if we're playing on expert, and then the end of game points on our faction story. So apparently you play this at like a giant meetup, and whichever table got the most points would win the meetup. But let's see how we're going to figure this scheisse out. So we need to get 6 clues on Declan, is what we have to do. And I'm going to assume I'm going to find that many clues up in the lobby area. And I have my full 3 actions still. So I'm going to use my first 2 actions to go ahead and get up to this 2nd floor, where we discover the library. The library has 6 clues on it. It has a Shroud of 4, however, and and we get +1 while parlaying here. If the jewel is at this location, we would test knowledge versus 3, and if we succeed, either place 1 damage on the jewel or remove 1 token from it. So we just need to plop there and do some investigating. So that's fine. We're going to go ahead and investigate with, what is this? 2. This is our last action, so it's 2 plus. We'll exhaust 10. 2 plus 3 is 4. 2 plus 3 is 4. Okay. +1. So we got 3 out of 4. And that was not enough. Okay. I have looked what I found and realized I did not have enough energy to use it, and I should have used the old key ring, and I didn't use the old key ring, and all of these things happened, and I'm a silly fool. I'm a silly, silly fool. Okay, anywho, back to this. It's the end of the investigation round. She is spellbound. So now this guy's going to start coming after us. During the enemy phase, he's aloof, so he doesn't attack. He moves here because these are all connected, so that sucks a lot. Okay. All right. But I can start attacking him now. And if I attack him, I can try to take the Pale Lantern thing. We'll see what happens. We ready all of our people. We each get a resource. Carson's got so many, Charlie doesn't have enough. We each draw a card. Another runic axe. A Faustian bargain. I mean, that'll give me the resources I need. Hold up, what does this do? Okay. Oh, the Bloodless Man is also aloof, which is nice. But I think we're gonna just be trying to Kill him. It's one on my game. Yeah. All right. Carson is going to move to the Bloodless Man. Carson is going to spend 4 resources to summon a beat cop, who he will immediately discard and kill to deal 1 damage to the Bloodless Man. Ooh, because he's going to heal him. Yes. And then, yeah, we're not doing any. That was all incorrect because I realized this Declan Pierce thing is going to be problematic. I do, however, have a guest. So we're going to use our... 2 more actions. I have to... I can't let him come to get me. Logical. Oh, I have to clear this to get rid of that. I mean, I can make the Bloodless Man follow me into this room we haven't seen, which is, I guess, what I'm going to have to do here. That's the ballroom. It's got 2 clues on it, and you can persuade... Parley can persuade 2 guests to have a dance, exhaust 2 guests at this location, and heal 1 horror from each of them. But they are, of course, spellbound, so that doesn't do anything. That's my second action. And then for my third action, I will summon the beat cop, but not discard it. But no, for my third action, I'm going to exhaust Dr. Maya to investigate against a investigation of 2 at this location and try to get one of those clues before she gets spellbound. That definitely didn't happen. It's a -4. Okay, on to Charlie. For Charlie's first action, he's going to play Faustian Bargain. This is going to let me add 2 curse tokens to the bag, and then I can get 5 resources. And I really needed those resources, so it is what it is, what it is. That was my first action. 1, 2, 3. Should have 1 more. Okay? I'm going to use 3 of those resources to play Miss Doyle. Miss Doyle has entered play. I can search my bonded cards for Hope, Zeal, and August. Choose one to put into play and the others in the deck. When she leaves play, find those assets and remove them from the game. We are going to play Augur into play, which is the one that's going to help me investigate. And then for my... That was my second action. So for my third action, we are going to exhaust Augur to give me a base investigate of 5. We are going to exhaust the art student to make that 8. And so it's now an 8 versus 4 investigation. Skull is -2, so I succeed. So I get 1 clue. And because I got a clue, I can exhaust Caldwell and draw a card. I have currently 1. I have 2, 3 regular allies, which is how many I can have, and then my 2 specialty ones. So can't do that. Okay, but that was the end of Charlie's turn. At the end of the investigator phase, we deal 1 heart each investigator and guest at this location. There is none thingy there, so he's going to move over here. And we're just going to have the butler kite him around now that I'm realizing he's aloof. This is going to move up to the lobby. We're going to ready all of our things. Yeah, Maya will be fine as long as I don't stay on that location. I see. We each get a resource. We each draw a card. Hey. Interesting. All right. We're going to. Carson takes one horror. If I can find the horror. We'll put that on Maya for now. And we have to shuffle this weakness back into his deck. You know, I think there's a chance that we're going to fulfill the goal here. But that said, I don't think we're going to do any of those other special things if we do manage to fulfill the goal. A lot of it depends on what comes out of that nightmare deck at us, which I think I forgot to draw cards from on this last turn because things were so horrible. But, well, we'll do it now. Charlie, another terror gate. Every freaking time, him with the terror gate. We're going to exhaust Bonnie, which gives us +3. So that gives us 3 plus 1 is 4. 5. Okay, so that's going to be 5. No. 4 versus 2. Because if I fail, one of those cards can't be discarded. That you can't see. 4 minus 2. Is this a private location? It sure is. So that is a failure. So I have to discard 2 cards from my hand. And we put that over there. I really wish you could see Charlie's whole setup because he's got all of this stuff. He's got cats. He's got he's got all this stuff, all this stuff over here. I think I keep forgetting to use that lucky cigarette case too, so don't let me forget that this turn. And like you're gonna travel through time and tell me. Okay, Carson, Bleeding Walls, test willpower versus X, which is currently 2. Well, nothing. Oh, I can drop this. We're gonna make it 3 versus 2. Yay! I succeeded, and nothing bad happened. Boom. All right. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Oh, he's a hunter. Shit. Okay, so he would have moved and engaged with Charlie, which means I get 1 fewer action during my turn. Well, that sucks. That sucks. Okay. What am I going to do about that? I don't know. I don't think I can kill him, right? Yeah, he can't be damaged because of the jewel. Lets me place a damage on the jewel, whatever that does. Oh, no, I don't know what to do. I mean, if I use the one... Okay. Carson is going to go first. He's going to move 2 to Charlie. Give Charlie a free action, which is going to be used to evade. So that's +3, so that's a 4 evade versus 2. It's the best I can do, unfortunately. Skull is -2, so, whew, okay. So he is now evaded there, and that's only if he's engaged with me. Okay, so Carson moved 2, did that. He has 1 more action on his turn. This is a shroud of 4. That's not going to get to me yet. This is going to get to somebody. He's just, yeah, he's going to come down here just so that William doesn't go upstairs. Sure, that's what's going to happen. Then Charlie goes. So Charlie is going to first investigate with a base value of 5. And we're going to make that 8 versus 4. -3. 8 minus 3 is 5, so that's 1 success. So I just need 4 more clues. We are going to use. That was my first action. My second action is going to be investigate with +3, so that's 4 versus 4. There's a reason I'm doing this. -2 is 2. Play after you fail a skill test by a 2 or less while investigating to discover 2 clues at your location. That was my second action. I'm not going to be able to pull another test up. Oh, I did this so I get to draw a card. I forgot that again. You're supposed to tell me. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. For my final action, I'm going to put 2 of my clues on done. Okay. Enemy phase. Oh, at the end of this phase, nothing was there. Okay, so he's going to move to here on the enemy phase. He doesn't do anything because he's exhausted. That's the enemy phase. Ready phase. Declan is going to re-engage with Charlie. They're still aloof. We are going to each get a resource. Ready all of our many, many, many cards. We're going to each draw a card. Okay. We are going to place 1 Doom on the agenda. We're going to draw a card for Charlie, Lantern Club member. Okay, now he's getting swarmed. We're going to draw a card for Carson, Mind Extraction. Test willpower versus X, where X is the current agenda number, so that is 2. If you fail, take 2 horror, and then the Bloodless Man will get his lantern back, but none of that's going to really matter. Our willpower is 2. That's -2, so we fail. So we take 2 horror, bringing us to 3, but we're okay still. All right. Now, what is Carson going to do to help this situation? Carson is going to move to this location and engage the Lantern member and engage Declan Pierce, which means he now has no more actions. So he can't give an action to Charlie, but I feel like what he did there was much more selfless anyway. And then we have Charlie. So Charlie needs 2 more clues from this location. What is going to be the best way to do this? I'm supposed to discard Open's Evil. I don't know what to do. Dun, dun, dun. Yes. So for the first action, we're going to exhaust Lucas to give us a base skill of 4. And we're going to use the old key ring to investigate, making it a 4 versus 2 test. A 5 versus 2 test, because Caldwell gives us +1. This is 5 versus 2. Yes. Ready an ally you control. I also get this is cool. I like Charlie. Charlie, I like you. All right. Then we need 1 more action. We're going to spend 2 clues to replace the art student with an art student and get a clue. And then we're going to place a clue on Declan. And then we're just going to have to do that 1 more time on the next turn. And that's going to be that, I think. Yeah. Okay. So we just have to survive this turn. Nothing is at the bloodless man's location. We go to the enemy phase. The bloodless man is going to come up to us. William Bain is going to come up to us. Carson Sinclair is going to take a total of 3 horror. One of that is going to go to Dr. Maya Bondry, who is going to get defeated. And then 2 of it is going to go to Declan, who is still alive with 1 remaining. We are going to ready all of our stuff. We're going to get a resource and get a resource and draw a card and draw a card. Oh, and put a doom on the agenda, which we've managed to avoid advancing again because we're not trying to get points, we're just trying to win here. Another Lantern Club member engages Charlie and noxious fumes. In player order, each investigator at your location must either test dexterity versus 3 to flee and move to a success connecting location, or test fight versus 3 to hold your breath. So we're going to start with a fight versus 3 for Carson. He's got a base of 2, plus that is 4, 5, 6 versus 3. -1, he successfully held his breath and draws a card. Then Charlie is going to do it. Charlie's going to exhaust Lucas, which is going to give him a base of 4. And then we're going to discard leadership from here, which will bring him up to 6 versus 3 to hold my breath. -1, I too successfully held my breath. It is my turn. As an action, I'm going to put 2 clues on Declan Pierce and take 1 horror from an attack of opportunity. And then, because there's 6 clues on him, I take control of the jewel. I add Declan to the victory display. This goes into play with 3 damage and 1 doom on it. When it would leave play, you would shuffle it into the encounter deck. You can exhaust it to test something and move a token on it to an enemy at your location. With that all said, we have, at the end of the round, we may advance the deck. So we need to survive, whoops. We need to survive this round, which for Carson is going to be a little bit of a trouble. Charlie has 2 more actions, so he's going to engage this other Lantern card member. And then he's going to evade it with a skill of 3, 4, 5 versus 2. -2, and I realized I can't contribute those rolls to that, which is okay, because William Ballin was at our location. That was my 3rd action. So that is the end of Charlie. Carson Sinclair is going to just run down to that lantern chamber and draw a card. The enemy phase is going to happen. Charlie is going to take 2 I can't speak, 2 horror damage, which is going to go on these allies, and from the Lantern Club members, and then we do the upkeep phase. The Bloodless Man deals 1 horror to every investigator at its location and every guest asset, and the guests become spellbound. So spellbound and spellbound, and that would have happened beforehand, so I would have had to give this to Bonnie, and Bonnie, and kill the art student. So Bonnie and Miss Doyle would have been the ones to take the damage. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't cheat here. And yes, okay, so I survived and I get to advance the act. The party's over. You take a deep breath as you stagger out into the cold night. Snow falls thickly on the once pristine lawn, now stained red with blood. The manor is dead silent behind you, and the jewel of Sarnath pulses with an unearthly light in your palm, and for a moment you feel a balmy breeze. The scent of another place both familiar and dreamlike. Was the gem worth all of this devastation? And we get to go to resolution R1. You look up from the jewel to see your contact standing in front of the manor, silhouetted in the moonlight. Each investigator can choose one single-sided guest asset to add to their deck. This is a really good one to do as a side scenario. If this is a side story during the campaign, in each subsequent scenario, you can shuffle the Jewel of Sarnath into the encounter deck. Huh. Oh, interesting. Oh, interesting. Okay. And we're skipped to resolution 3. After calming down a very flustered Dean Caldwell, the academic grabs the jewel from your hand and holds it to the light. Truly remarkable. The legends hardly do it justice. Miraculous. Breathtaking. The astute gentleman eventually runs out of descriptors and then thanks you for your assistance. Given what happened here tonight, I would prefer we not house the jewel on campus grounds. We only just rebuilt the student dormitories. But if you could bring it by my office next week, I would relish the chance to study it further. Your skin prickles as you sit in the back seat of your cab and you have the feeling of being watched. You turn to look at the manor's facade to see the nightmarish face of the bloodless man staring down at you from the window. As the manor disappears from view, you think back to Kingsport, a city shrouded in mystery and folklore. The city beckons with its name alone, conjuring up images of misty sea cliffs, shadowy coves, and ancient brooding mansions. For generations, stories of inexplicable phenomena, strange dreams, and haunting legends have plagued Kingsport. And after tonight's events, you can finally understand why. You would get more experience points if you would get more bonus experience points if you had a higher score in this scenario. I'm not going to count up my score, but what I do want to see is what's on the other side of this lamp here and the bloodless man here. So on the other side of the bloodless man, he turns into a really gross, nasty monster that has a lot more health. Yeah, and is massive. And if I flip the lantern over, you could flip over a spellbound card at your location, and you can exhaust the lantern to place 1 damage on it, and you could potentially break it and destroy it to put it to the victory display. So there's a few like ways you could have gone to try to get more and more points out of this. But overall, like, I liked this side scenario more than a lot of them. I usually find them too punishing. Carson, I understand why people have issues with Carson, but I could see him being really fun to play in a 4-player game if you're a support character. Charlie, though, is great. Like, that's so overpowered. Like, wow. And especially, like, if you took Charlie on this side scenario and we're able to get some more of these allies into people's decks and then get them into his deck, he would be pretty good. He would be pretty good. This is a good one for Charlie Kane. Thank you for tuning in to the Midwinter Gala of Arkham Horror. It's a really hard one to do on video. You could barely see what I was doing. I love this game, though. I can't recommend it enough, and you're not going to get to see me play it with my group because there's just too many of us. So I wanted to get a play of that in here. Since we're still waiting for Cthulhu Death May Die seasons 3 and 4 to ship. But what I have found is a homebrewed campaign mode for Cthulhu Death May Die that I may do some playing with. I might throw in some Keep the Heroes Out with me controlling Cthulhu as a character. I really want to keep Cthulhu Thursdays as a thing. We'll see if I pull it off. But thank you for dialing in. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Do not forget, keep those health bars full. Thank you and have a great night.